Welcome back to Tennessee This Week. If you're listening to that music and you know what it is, then you were at the 1982 World's Fair. Time now for the final word this afternoon, and joining us is the former mayor of Knoxville, Randy Tyree. Of course, Mr. Tyree was there as mayor in 1982 when we opened the doors to the world. And I was just thinking back, it's hard to believe 25 years has passed.
It really is, Gene, but you know, you look at, put it in the context of the times, and from a historical standpoint, that history is the ultimate judge, and you look back at those times and all the hard work and the community unity that came out of the fair. It's really served us well since that time. It was a heck of a party for 6 months, and a lot of good things got done.
I've talked to a number of people who have had experiences or memories of the World's Fair, and they say, you know, it's a funny thing, the aftermath, the legacy of the World's Fair in their mind is that there was this sense of can-do spirit that resulted as because of the fair. You know, nobody thought, anybody in the country said Knoxville can pull off a World's Fair? No way. And yet we did. 11 million plus visitors showed up.
We accomplished the total unexpected happening, and then both the intended consequences and unintended consequences were very, very good for the community.
Well, as you look back now 25 years later, and I mentioned the can-do spirit, but what in your mind was the impact legacy of this fair?
There are three things that I really that were accomplished in '82 that in my memory is sort of burned there. One was that it was a time when the community came together from a unified standpoint. There was a lot of plenty of discussion moving into it, but at the end of the day we were unified. The second thing is that it came at a time when there was a national recession. Economically, it was a huge hit for us. A very, very good period of time for the 6 years that we were planning and promoting it and making it happen. And a third thing was, for the sports fans, UT beat Alabama in 1982. So when you put it all together, what we really had from an investment standpoint with the taxpayers of Knoxville, we had a $42 million total investment and generated over $500 million in public and private development. So economically, culturally, educationally, any way you want to look at it, it was a grand event, and it left a very good legacy for the community.
I think there was, and you can argue and debate this, but over the past, there was a 20-year period after the World's Fair when a lot of people were disappointed at what happened to that site. Ultimately, it was supposed to be a redevelopment site, Lower Second Creek. Yes. Argued about riverfronts, about this project, that project. It's now a World's Fair park, and a world-class park at that.
It is.
Are you happy with what's happened on that site?
It could have been economically better, but from the standpoint of I see the glass as being half full, because we had to deal with some very difficult economic conditions after the fair closed, and that affected the long-term redevelopment aspect of it. And when the United American Bank failed, and like a couple of months after the fair closed, it was really a tough time for this community. But we didn't give up. We stuck there, and the momentum that we had built up during the World's Fair really served us extremely well to get us through the really tough times with the bank failure, the Whittle Communications that eight years later went down, and it was a build-up. It gave us so much confidence that the subsequent bad news got to be bumps in the road and not roadblocks per se.
Of course, and you mentioned the United American Bank failure. That I guess would happen in February, just 3 or 4 months after the fair closed. Right. Lending dried up for a long period of time, and there was and people just weren't willing to spend money on any type of business out there.
That's true. We went through a period of readjustment. Mm-hmm. Now, if it had been in the cards to have immediately gone into the Fairfield redevelopment that had been proposed, a $100 million redevelopment that was festive retail and condo development downtown on the fair site. Economically, we would have not had the difficult times that we did, but then again, we wouldn't have had the park that we have today. So there was some trade-offs all the way through, but more than anything else, the community really came together to make something happen, and it didn't hurt us at all when the Wall Street Journal referred to us as a scruffy little city. That made us angry and our really got our dander up, and we just, from that point forward, the community really came together and said, we're going to show them, and we were able to do that.
I know you were personally disappointed at the demolition of the U.S. Pavilion back in '92. You pushed to keep that building. Now we've got still the Sun Sphere, and we have the Tennessee Amphitheater. Sounds like something's going to happen in the Sun Sphere. Hopefully the Tennessee Amphitheater will be refurbished. Would you hate to see those two structures disappear?
Yeah, we need to hold on to those, Gene, because although the U.S. Pavilion went down, then the alternative to that was that we now have a convention center in that space. And if we'd have had to have gone out and built a convention center somewhere else and bought the property, we already own that property, then it'd been a huge hit financially for the city. So again, there was that positive trade-off. But we have a couple of icons there with the Tennessee Theater and our amphitheater and the Sun Sphere. So I was very pleased. Mayor Haslam has really done a superb job, and City Council of sort of keeping the momentum going and not taking the fact that, well, we got a problem here, so let's just tear it down.
We have 30 seconds remaining. A lot of people that I've talked to apparently saw me at the Stroh House doing the bird dance. Have you ever done the bird dance?
I'll have to plead guilty. There were a few times. Fortunately, I don't think I was photographed, so I worked my way through that. But that, educationally, culturally, just a fun time, and economically, it was a huge hit for us. So the 25th year, it's just fun to look back and to know that we're going to have a period of time here we can celebrate the good times.
And I'd like to do that just as well. All right, Randy Tyree, thank you very much for joining us. We need to talk some more about this subject. We got 6 months to do that.
That's right.
All right, if you missed part of this program, I'd like to see it again, you can watch it on our website at TennesseeThisWeek.com. You can also give us your comments at the website, or you can write to us at 1306 Broadway, 37917. That's our time. We'll see you back here next week.